This podcast is sponsored by Skylight Calendar. Do you wish your family life could be a little more organized and a lot less hectic? Now there's an easy way to make it happen, the Skylight Calendar. The Skylight Calendar is an innovative, smart, all-in-one touchscreen calendar that automatically syncs up existing calendars your family uses. Everyone's upcoming events are automatically organized and displayed for the family to see in big, easy-to-read, color-coded time blocks. And with Skylight Calendar, you can assign household chores to your kids, keep grocery lists, plan dinners, and much more. And Skylight's mobile app keeps your family up to date on the go, anywhere, anytime. Managing a busy household just got a little bit easier with the Skylight Calendar. Now get $15 off your Skylight Calendar when you go to skylightcal.com/family. Go to skylightcal.com/family for $15 off. That's skylightcal.com/family.
A choice right now, between fear and love. It's just a rock.
Out of the dark night of ignorance and into the shining light of truth.
Expounding reality. A population of citizens capable of critical thinking.
We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are.
There's a level of reality where everything dissolves into an ocean of energy.
We empower our experience by insisting on our authenticity.
That's very profound. Very.
Expanding reality.
Welcome to Expanding Reality. I am your host, Brandon Thomas. On this episode, guys, an incredibly special one. My good friend, Bo Shaftnoski, joins us for his first counseling session with Carlos Tanner from the Ayahuasca Foundation in Iquitos, Peru, because Bo is undertaking this treatment for himself to change his life completely. He is super brave in wanting to offer this up for everyone to experience with him as well. So this is going to be a two-parter. This is the first part. This is his counseling session with Carlos, and Carlos explains, what he can look forward to, what to expect. He goes over the beginning process like he would for anyone embarking on this journey. These guys are just doing it for everyone to experience. Again, incredibly cool. I've never heard of anything like this, so I'm super excited to be a part of it. So, again, guys, this is part one. Part two will occur after Bo gets back. Also, just kind of a heads up, after we wrap this conversation for the counseling session itself, there was a lot of wonderful information. We had a great time talking, so I'm going to include that at the end as well. So you guys stick around after the normal sign-off, and you can experience that part of this conversation too. So also look forward to part two. When Bo comes back, we're going to have his integration session, again, joined by Carlos. So damn cool. I'm so grateful. And we're going to check out how he fared, what his new perception is. So really, really looking forward to this, guys. It's a phenomenal conversation. That's just such a cool thing. And thank you all for listening and being so encouraging and supporting of Bo. Now, of course, all the ways to find Carlos and Bo both located down in the show notes, so you guys show some love and support. And before we get to all that, though, let's talk about resource links real quick. Food Forest Abundance, check that out down there for all of your freedom from fear needs, as well as Libsyn if you'd like to start your own podcast. Amazon link is down there. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, feed the beast through that link. It helps the show. Opus, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support, link down there as well. And also, expandingrealitypodcast.com is where you can find all things expanding reality. So, now that we got that out of the way, you guys go down and check this thing out. I am so excited for Bo. Just congratulations, buddy, and Carlos. Endless thanks, man, for your time and for doing this. This is incredibly special. So, let's get to it with Carlos Tanner and Bo Shaftnoski. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the show. As always, we do special things around here. This is special. We upped it a level. We invited Carlos Tanner and my buddy Bo Shaftnoski, who is massive help with production, with website, with everything. He is one of the foundational blocks in this amazing legacy that we're doing here. And for this, Bo has decided that he is ready to venture down the ayahuasca train. Now, whenever we were having this conversation, thankfully, I've got a guy, and he is the guy. I, Carlos Tanner, the director of the Ayahuasca Foundation in Iquitos, Peru, and that is how we do it. We do it right. So Bo and I thought that it would be really cool, and he has volunteered and is very brave for doing this, by the way, to take us on this journey with him. Now, this is not an experience that a lot of people get. You are going to be seeing an initial counseling session with Bo and Carlos as the director of the Ayahuasca Foundation as part of the process of people who come down to choose to do this. I've been a big fan of Carlos for a long time, ever since he wrote me that first email. Just had a special place in my heart. So said, Bo, you got to go do it where you do it. And so he agreed. He's taken us on this journey with him, and this is the first episode. He is going to be shooting a documentary style vlog. This has a lot of really cool things, and so I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today?
Very good, thanks.
Bo,
excellent,
good?
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice.
Very excited. Lots of feelings.
Yeah, well, walk us through that, man. You haven't done ayahuasca before, so what made you want to go down this journey?
Oh, just a lot of stuff has, accumulated over the years in my life. I took a couple of psychedelic journeys in my college years, and those were wonderful experiences, and I absolutely loved them, and they're memorable and, fascinating, and just, it was great. It was a magical experience for me, very eye-opening, a lot of mind expansion and all that.
Hell yeah.
And, I am 41 years old. My father died a year ago. It's actually on the day I'm traveling will be the first anniversary of that. And so it's kind of, going to deal with that loss, and just, and he and I were different people. It just kind of, it came up, it dug a lot of stuff up for me that I want to process. And this, from what I understand, this is a really good way to process, pain, trauma, memories. I just want to connect to all of that in the most thorough way I can, and process it, all the grief and there's other complications going on in my life on a relational level. And here I am, 41 years old. I feel like I'm starting the second half of my life, and I want to do it as clean as I possibly can on the inside, and as clear. And I want to make the next leg of my life just as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah, this promises the purge and to squeegee the third eye right clean, buddy. So I'm excited for you, man. I love you to death, brother. You've been one of my best friends for years. I've known you for years. And so to see you come from where you were to now, this is massive, man. I'm just so proud of you, and cannot tell you how cool it is that you are sharing this with the world, because this is a unique thing. Carlos, have you ever been a part of something like this?
No, I'm excited about it too. I've started talking a lot about preparation, especially the importance of mindset, optimizing healing experience across the board, really, but especially ayahuasca healing experiences. And I'm going to be talking in a couple weeks on the Plant Spirit Summit about just this topic. So this is super cool. It's definitely in my wheelhouse, but I want to bring it more to the forefront. And I can't think of a better way than to do it in the allowing people to see what a preparation session looks like getting maybe into the nuts and bolts of preparation on a deeper level.
I love it.
And that's why I do it. I try to set up a call with every participant that comes down, but I would say that everyone is somewhere with excitement and also with some level of nervousness or anxiety and concern and things like that. And that's natural. And I can only do what I can. I can only, do my best, but I hope that I can improve that ratio so that it's more excitement, more trust, more faith. And that's why I like to set up these calls and give you the chance to get any concerns or questions out that I can address to make you feel more confident about knowing that you're definitely making the best step forward, but also to allow you to optimize your mindset so that when you show up, you're in the best place possible, because you're doing a 10-day retreat. Mm-hmm. And a 10 days is very short amount of time. we're going to put, as much as we can into that 10 days, but 10 days, short amount of time. And, I think that it's enough time to make a real transformation, a real turning of the corner in the direction that our paths are headed. But if you set yourself up and you show up ready, then you can obviously accomplish more. And so that's the goal of this session right now, our talk today.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect, man. And I'm just so excited, again, Bo, that you're deciding to share this part of the journey and your post part, because there's going to be a part 2 to this, plus your documentary that we're going to look forward to. So, Carlos, would you just like to start the session, and I'll just kind of get out of y'all's way?
Let's do it. So my first question, Bo, I guess my first question is, how are you feeling about the adventure coming up?
Well, very much like it's an adventure. I feel like I'm preparing for this massive, adventure. And I'm getting all my stuff ready. I'm packing my bags and, thinking about how I'm going to fit everything and all my video equipment, and I'm trying to work out the logistics. I've been Googling all over about the Amazon and where we'll be and trying to understand everything. I watched the episode of Down to Earth with Zac Efron, and I showed my mom and grandma and everybody. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm going. You don't need to be worried.
Zach's been there, so it's got to be safe, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It did. It made them feel so much better. My mom was actually like, oh my God, you're going to, middle of the jungle.
I'll try to pull some strings to get you into Zach's room. Okay. Good. I'm glad to hear that. One thing that just struck me right off the bat, and, I understand, especially because Brandon was just talking about it, but I know that he agrees with me in saying this, you're not going down to make a film. You're going down for your own personal healing. And if the film gets made, it gets made, but don't prioritize the film equipment, setting up shots. Don't let those thoughts get in the way of what is much more important, which is what you were talking about. Yes. Purifying your soul, getting yourself as clean as possible to move forward into the second half of your life. And that is a noble endeavor. And it would be great if you could share some of that with the world, but don't feel like you have any obligation to do that. Your true obligation is to yourself, and make sure that that's very clear in your intentions. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. So the second question is, did you happen to read the article that I linked in that email? It's called Ayahuasca Retreat Preparation, Participation, and Integration.
I did. I actually printed it out. I've got a little binder of all your emails, and I've read through them a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Awesome. I think that's a first. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The literary works of Carlos Tanner's emails. No, the article I'll take credit for, literary work. I think that it's a great start. And so to follow up on that, have you acted on a couple of the pieces of advice I give in that article? Did you purchase a journal for the program?
Yes, I got a journal ready. I've got, I'm doing the clean eating and stuff. I'm going down all of those.
So paths. you set a date for your preparation to begin, and that date has already come?
Oh, yes. As soon as I got that email, I started trying to, weed things out that needed to be weeded out to prepare, and just emotionally and mentally preparing for everything and making sure all of the logistics were there, which you were fantastic about preparing me for. Thank you. I was able to show, my wife and everybody, look, it's all planned out. It's not going to be a giant stressor. Nobody has to be concerned about me and everything. Yeah.
Right. I appreciate that. And, we do our best to try to take care of all those concerns that shouldn't be a concern. All of those logistics, the less logistics that you have to think about, the more attention you can give to what you should be thinking about, which is your true intention for coming down. And that's the real purpose for the journaling. So in that sense, maybe just to go over it again, the journaling is, one, to bring about the awareness of the aspects of yourself that you hope to change. And then two, to dive as deep as you can into understanding how those things came to be in such a way that you do want them to change. So the better your understanding of the root causes and the influences that contributed to detrimental behaviors, detrimental thought programs, ways of being that you simply want to be different, then the more attention you'll be able to give straight to that when you get that opportunity. And ayahuasca is amazing because it presents this expanded awareness environment. And being in an ayahuasca ceremony is in an environment of expanded awareness. But what you do with the awareness is actually what brings about the healing. If you go into an ayahuasca ceremony and you just lay back and watch the show, so to speak, which you can do, and sometimes that's beautiful. And to be honest, I often will start my ceremonies that way, because one, I want to get into it. I want to get into the depth of the expanded awareness state. And two, it is awe-inspiring. And so I often will wait to find myself in that awe-inspired mindset deep into an expanded awareness state to then decide to look. And one way of thinking about that is that you want to manifest as much higher vibrations as you can before you dive into the low vibrations. You want to manifest as much light as you can so that when you go to look into the darkness, you're doing that with a shining bright light. And so one of the best pieces of advice that I can offer, and this goes specific to the ceremony, but it's really about the retreat and it's really about life. And that is that every ceremony that I start, I always think about everything that I'm so blessed to have in my life. There's a lot of problems, but there's way more things going right. No matter what, if you ever made a list of everything going wrong and compared it to a list of everything going right, the list of everything going right would always be way longer. So I always try to think about that. I'll drink my cup with my intention to heal, to work, to change, to grow, to learn. But when I go back and I'm waiting for the effects of the ayahuasca to come on, then it's all gratitude. It's all, thinking about all the blessings that I have in my life, all the wonderful people that I have, all the incredible luck, I guess, just to have so many things come my way. And when I get myself into this state of gratitude, this high state of love, that vibration, and then the hypersensitive state comes, that expanded awareness, then I can go and look at something that might be painful, that might be challenging, that's part of my darkness, but I can look at it with the highest vibration, and then I can bring that vibration up by my own influence. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think I understand. Yeah.
And so that goes for ceremony specifically, but it also just goes for the entire healing process. And then again, I think it's just great advice in our lives. If we can always enter the darkness with the brightest light we have, then we're always going to have the best chance to find our way. And so the process of journaling to uncover the roots is this way to know, where do I need to look? Once I've got my flashlight on, once I've got my love light on, then where do I shine it? What are the places that I need to take a good look at? And sometimes exactly what it's like or where to go. And sometimes you don't. You have a ballpark. So, you just do the best that you can, but having that opportunity to write and journal and think about it for a period of time, which is 2-3 weeks, it gives you that chance to pick up little pieces here and there. You start gathering little dots, little data points here and there. And then by the time you get to the airport where this is like as real as it's going to get, you're flying on a plane, you got a chance to read through all that. And then you can connect those dots and really start to see more of that picture. And then my best advice, would be to summarize. So you write that final preparation entry into your journal, which is the summary of the story of how you came to be the way that you are with regard to the parts of you that you want to change. And then that's your intention. You just wrote it. Yeah. And now you've got fully articulated your true intention for being there. And that is your compass. That becomes your roadmap for when you enter into those expanded awareness states, you know where you need to go. Does all of that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. I'm a chronic overthinker, and my brain's been churning like crazy on it and pinning it down is absolutely, I mean, I've put some of my intentions down, but I haven't written. Journaling is something that I haven't gone into depth a lot of in my life. Like somehow, I believe this will be incredibly good for me. It's something I've always intended. Yeah. And I think this will be a lovely way to start.
It doesn't have to be journaling. Journaling to me is the obvious technique because we think in words.
Yes.
But whatever works for you, it's really just about, to me, the journaling is one, of course, to help you remember. So you might come up with a thought, and by writing it down, 2 weeks from now, you might have forgotten it, but you wrote it down. And now you go back and you see it, and now you're like, oh yeah, that's right. So that's an important element, but really it's also about the motivation. When you know that you're journaling, and that's why I have that recommendation to set the date, it's like, okay, it started, my preparation started. That's this added motivation to give your attention to it. And then of course, the part that we haven't talked about yet, which is, can I incorporate it into a daily practice? Now you're an overthinker, you just said. Oh, yeah. So, if I were to select for you a daily practice, it would be meditation.
I've actually just started that recently.
Beautiful.
And it was a funny story. I called up my buddy the other day. I was like, holy crap, Steve. I did it and it actually worked for the first time in my life, where I actually meditated, was calm, and I actually did the Om thing. And I was like, oh my God, it's about the vibration more than the sound. It's when you feel that vibration in your chest, it's really actually very soothing, and I was breathing from the diaphragm, and I was really relaxed. And I was actually stressed at the time with why, when I did it, I sat down, I was like, okay, you're going to do this because you got to calm down and get back to your work day. And man, 5 minutes, it was that was crazy because I've tried it before and it was calming, but it was never as calming. It was never, I don't know. I feel like I was I don't know, something hit for a change. And, instead of it being pretending to it, it was doing it,
Awesome.
If that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, one of the beautiful things about knowing that you're going to do something like this is that it really kind of ups your game, across the board. You made the commitment, you click the button, you book the flights, it's happening. And so when you make a commitment like that, you set in motion a lot of little subtle changes, some of them unconscious, but they're all responding to that commitment. You made a declaration to yourself and to the world that you are going to have a transformation, that you are going to now achieve this goal that you've set for yourself. And every cell in your body listens, and they all are responding in that way. And they've already been gathering their strength and setting things up for you so that you will achieve this goal, so that you will be healed. And, and that's part of the job that I feel I have is I want to contribute to that process. I want to further influence that so that you come into a conscious awareness of this setting up, of this, all these pieces coming together, you know? And so like the fact that you had a positive experience from this daily practice that maybe you had struggled with before, to me is evidence that, yep, the pieces are coming together, you know? Yes. I want to just touch one piece there. There's a lot of different techniques for meditation. So, you know, finding what works for you is definitely ideal, obviously. But you know, I know for myself, like some types of meditation, I just don't fly with me, you know, like I tried it, not into it, you know. And I say that because we'll be teaching a specific meditation technique on the retreat. And I think that you'll like it, because maybe for the same reason that I like it. And maybe I can understand like where you're at with the overthinking. And I'm going to come back to that in a second, but it's a meditation technique where your mind doesn't stop. But your mind has a specific focus and a specific purpose. And that's when I did that. I was like, oh, this is so great, because I can never like get my mind to stop, but I can get it to do this, you know? And that to me translates wonderfully to what happens in a ceremony. Now, maybe this is something that you've experienced before as a self-professed overthinker. Have you ever been in an amazing experience and felt like you're missing it because you're too caught up in your thoughts? In fact, you might even be thinking about how you're missing it as you're missing it because you're too focused on your thoughts instead of giving the appropriate attention to the experience itself. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. It's like you're picking on me right there. I can think of so many things.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm relating to you. I know how
I identify
it feels.
that well. Yeah, totally. Oh, that's a good idea.
Well, I say that out of experience because it's something that I've like kicked myself for many times in ceremony, especially. Ceremonies are truly amazing experiences. They are hard to describe. You know, they can get to a point where they're just, you know, like the most incredible dream you've ever had, except you're not asleep. And I have always wanted to narrate it, you know, like I've always, and I, you know, like I'll be like, oh, and now the spirit's coming up to me and it's going to show me something. And I'll be like, shut up, dude. I'm here. You don't like, who are you narrating this to? No one's listening. It's just you and me. Like, let's just shut up and watch what's happening. I got it. Like I'm aware of what's happening, you know? So I say that because it's not helpful to narrate or to get caught in your thoughts, and you can miss out because the just like anyone, if you were talking and talking, then I would stop talking. You know, I would stop interacting with you because you just keep talking. And what's the point? We're not having a conversation. You know, so I give up. I'm not going to share that story with you. I'm not going to share these gems I have with you because you're not really paying attention. And that's really what happens in that realm as well, because your thoughts are how you talk. You know, your thoughts, you if you see a spirit and you want to communicate with the spirit, you communicate with your thoughts. And so if you're just thinking, the spirits are like, dude, is this guy ever going to like let me show him this bountiful splendor that I've got for him, you know? And so, you know, you want to do your best to be able to just watch, and meditation can get you closer to that. But it is something where I still, to this day, I find myself going like this. And that's like, shh, like, I don't want to be a dick to myself, you know, and say, shut up. But I just want, you know, like just calmly, shh. like, calm down, just watch, you know. And that can go a long way, because sometimes an ayahuasca experience doesn't feel exquisite. Sometimes it can feel frightening or overwhelming. And usually that's just because of our thoughts. Almost inevitably, it is just because of our thoughts. If we weren't thinking, then there's no such thing as overwhelming. You know, it's overwhelming is like a decision we make, or even having that fear is a decision that we make. We might not make it consciously, but it's all in the realm of thoughts. And a good example of that is like when you're home alone and you hear that sound, and, you know, a minute later, you're like sweating and your heart's racing and you're like looking for a baseball bat to kill the axe murderer that must be coming in through the door any minute now, you know? And then of course you like get the courage to investigate and you're like, oh, it's a squirrel, you know, or like something that, you know, is totally non-threatening. Yeah. So that can happen in a ceremony too. And I would say like that does happen in ceremonies, not to everyone. I mean, it's just like, someone in the ceremony will have something like that happen, where they interpret a sensation, they see something, and, you know, they just jump to a conclusion and then they run with it. And you can't run with a misinterpretation if you're not thinking. Yeah. You know, so if you can quiet your mind and just watch, and then you can see when it's like appropriate to interact. You know, when you're quiet and someone comes over to you and says something, and yeah, like you're ready to interact, but you need that quiet for that person to come over. And by person, I mean spirit. So yeah, that's some of my advice for like when you're on the retreat. You know, another piece of advice is that you can communicate, that ayahuasca is always listening. And so if you are going to be thinking, then think to ayahuasca, you know, think to the spirits. You know, if you can't stop your thinking, then at least think, thank you so much for doing all this. Like, you're incredible. I don't know how that you do it, but I'm so honored to be in the presence. And, you know, like just throw a bunch of, just blab to ayahuasca instead of blab to yourself, you know, because at least you're still keeping the communication and the interaction going, you know? Nice.
Yeah, I kind of imagine it like that scene in Star Wars where he goes into what's in there? Only what you take with you. You know, I'm like, am I doing that? That's kind of my interpretation of what I imagine it anyway to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the retreat, honestly, I mean, I designed the retreat, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but my advice is just do the retreat. You know, don't like bother to judge what you think about it. You know, just do it. Later, if you want to look back on it and say, yeah, that was fucked up, or like, man, that was like the worst idea I ever did, or thank God I did that. You know, I thought that was not going to be fun, but it turns out that it made a really big difference. That's what I think probably is the common one, because, you know, the retreat is I think some people think that we're like sadomasochists or something, where we just, you know, want to punish people. But no, it is all by like very well thought out and very well designed, I would say, because we've been doing it for 12 years. It's a process for sure. And the process has like an arc. Actually, it's more like a what's the opposite of arc? Basin, under curve, U, that shape.
Slope. Yeah. Down slope.
Yeah, like that, you know, like from up, down, and then back up. Oh, yeah. Because you just don't know how much shit you have. I think most people are surprised by the level of darkness that they have been walking around with. And so that's where the dip comes. You know, you get into that second ceremony where you've built up enough trust to say, okay, these people do actually know what they're doing. And okay, I am going to like let go, I'm going to like open up enough. And then that second ceremony, you're like, whoa, this went deeper than I thought. This went darker than I thought. But then you start processing that darkness. You start getting rid of that darkness. And then that third ceremony, it starts to turn around. And then you get into that fourth ceremony, and now you're headed back up. And then you get to that fifth ceremony, you're in a place that you never thought you could be in. Yeah. But it's certainly not linear in the sense that you don't just feel like you get better each day and each ceremony. It really has its ups and downs, to say the least. Which is why I say like it's like cleaning your refrigerator. Because you open the refrigerator and then you pull everything out. You make a big mess. You got to reach into the back and
what the hell is this?
Get those nasty, like rotten stuff that you've been trying to ignore. But now it's finally time, and you have to deal with its stankiness and the sliminess. But then you scrub it all down. Then you go through all the stuff. You throw out a lot of it. You decide what still has value, and then you organize it. And then when you're done, you're psyched. It's such an accomplishment, and that it'll be that will function much better. It'll function the way that you want it to. And that's like a metaphor for what the healing process looks like.
Yeah. I really want that energy shift. I feel like I've been, what's the word? Heavy, I guess, for a long time. And that just feeling lighter, the prospect of letting go a little, just because I do. I'm one of those people who I suffer in silence. I very work ethic kind of guy. I just move forward. Don't look too much at the stuff. I know it's there. And like when I lay down at night, sometimes I let my mind drift to it. I process things, but usually it's like, okay, it's time to rest. Later, you got a big day tomorrow. It's like, when do you give yourself the time to feel everything, and it's okay, and it's safe, and you're not going to get judged by anybody for being a blubbering mess or just feeling like you need to shut down for a bit,
Yeah. That's what retreat means, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of having a flight away from your life to a remote location where no one knows you, so no one can judge you based on any expectations, and where everyone is there for the same purpose, and they're all worried about the same, feelings that you just expressed. And that too, like, takes a couple of days to kind of settle in, to be open enough to do that. Or some people are ready. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, is to get you as ready as possible. The more you open up, obviously, the more you are open to possibilities and the potential for transformation. But there's one last detail that we didn't talk about, which I think is really beneficial for preparation. And it does seem like it's a good idea for you. And I hope that's not to be judgmental in any way, but spending time outside. Yeah. Have you been spending time outside?
Not nearly enough. I live in Michigan. It just got warm.
Yeah.
So
but now,
I actually have
no excuse now, because it's going to be warm for the next week, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful outside. Yeah. Actually, I put out weed and feed the other day. I'm doing the whole town guy. I'm taking care of my lawn, waving at the neighbor,
There you go.
Cleaning out the underneath the bushes and everything, getting allergies from all the dust and pollen, all kinds of fun stuff. Getting rid of the dandelions, which I actually heard were there was
really good for your soil.
Yeah, they're actually supposedly good for your soil. I was like, why are we killing these? And my daughter likes taking them and blowing the things and everything. But yeah, they do kind of crowd things out. I can see, I like a pretty lawn. I don't know. It's a catch-22.
Working in your lawn is one thing for sure, and I'm all for that. Like, cultivation is a definitely a form of interaction without a doubt. But if it's possible on the weekends, maybe to try to get away from anything cultivated, to find a forest, to find a place where you can hike in, where there's no cars, where there's no man-made objects, where it's just pure nature energy, nature sound, nature, or forests really, because we're all nature. But forests are in a constant state of healing, in a constant state of repair, in a constant state of growth, in a constant state of decay and letting go and transformation. All of those energies are embodied in the healing process and embodied in life, of course. But by putting yourself in that and immersing yourself in that environment, it does help to you absorb that energy. It helps to remind you, one, that you are a part of nature, and that is actually what you're made of also, and that those processes are all part of your natural functions as well. That part of like transformation, decay, and change, and growth, and healing, and repair, and maintenance. So I think that's a helpful idea. And then if you do find yourself in the forest, then you might want to try what meditation feels like in the forest.
Yeah.
And then after you meditate in the forest, then you might want to see what comes out in a journal entry.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's one reason that this is a very out of my comfort zone thing to do, because I'm not very outdoorsy. I don't know that I told you that. Like golf is and going to the beach are my outdoorsy things, and working in the yard. I occasionally go on a hike. Like a friend would be like, "Hey, come on on a hike." And I'm like, "Okay." I'll bring the backpack. I'll get my water and everything. And but I'm not really go into the woods and just hang out kind of guy. Though I have done it on occasion, just to do it. I think it was like being a kid. Like I had the allergies to poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumacs. I grew up in Texas, so there's like poisonous snakes everywhere, poisonous spiders. You're just like, damn it. I feel like So this will be good though, because it's like, it is outside of my comfort zone, and it's about growth, and yeah.
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack in what you just said.
Yeah.
What I was hearing is that you, from a young age, came to adopt a perspective that nature was out to get you.
A little bit. A little. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I would jump into, I occasionally would go jump out in the lake in the middle of the night with friends. And, I would do that, but it'd always be with people. I was never by myself voluntarily doing this just for me kind of person, Yeah.
Well, to cover those bases, go for a hike, wear pants, wear long socks, wear good hiking boots, make sure that you're protected. When you come home, just take them off right away, take a shower, do whatever you need to do. But it's not so much, about the plants themselves as really the recognition of the beauty of it. And you can do that in your yard too. You can do that with a dandelion, to really take a look at it. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and together, we're always having these conversations. She asks me all of these questions, and honestly, most of the time my answer is magic, because I don't know how it happens. She'll say how does a tree grow from a seed? You're like, I have no idea. It's amazing, right? It's the most incredible thing. Why are Orioles orange, Cardinals are red, and Blue Jays are blue? I don't know, man. It's just magic, I don't know. It's crazy. How do hummingbirds fly from Massachusetts down to Florida? They're so small. Every question she has, I have no idea. And I love that I don't know. And we're just walking mysteries. We're miracles. We can't figure out. 99.9% of our lives are just a mystery. Mm-hmm. And I think that nature kind of conjures that. It helps to remind us of that. And when we bring that into a healing process too, a big part of a healing process is always to recognize the divinity, recognize our divinity. But another way of saying divinity is really this magical mystery. And And it's a reality. And we see it more, I think, when we look at nature. And then hopefully we can reflect that if it's in the dandelion, then it's in me too, because I'm part of this planet as well. And then that can, if that becomes a core belief, then what grows from that belief is always positive.
Yeah, I totally identify. I mean, like, I get that a little bit from, sunsets and watching the stars and the clouds. I used to like laying on a trampoline. I grew up on 56 acres in the middle of East Texas. So I'd go outside in the dark and just look up at the stars at night and just hang out by myself there. That was one of my big kind of meditating things when I was a kid. And you just feel small and feel like the universe is this massive place and you're just a tiny little speck that's in time. And it puts everything in perspective and it's very calming.
Totally.
Yeah.
Hard to get too worked up about whatever you were worried about when you realize that you're literally like a quark inside an electron or something, on a macro scale.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But so much meaning in a blink of an eye too, by the same token, it's like, this blink of an eye knows itself, this vast thing that was my life. And I have this recording of it in my head and like this journey, it's magic, but at the same time, it's whenever you get overwhelmed, God, that's such a relief. And like another one I like is like just jumping in the water, like in a beach, when you just go under the water and you hear the rushing sounds of the water and the waves and everything. You just hold your breath and swim and stay underneath. And that's awesome. I've always loved just staying under the water too long.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Bo, do you have any questions? Is there anything I can help you to better understand or have a better idea about regarding any aspect of travel, logistics, or the retreat itself?
Well, I've thought about it a whole lot, but frankly, like as far as questions go, I remember seeing that are we like going to be taking hikes and stuff? I saw the word hike on there. It's like, so we're going to be like walking in the jungle and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited.
There's like, I'd say there's 3 levels of jungle. There's probably 4, but there's 3 that I would ever recommend. And, so you're going into Iquitos, Peru. If you look at a map, Iquitos is right in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. So you're in the jungle, but you're also in a city of 500,000 people, so you're not really in the jungle.
I did not realize it was that big.
Yeah. Right. And no road connects to Iquitos. Like, how did they all get there? Wow. But then you go, you take a bus for an hour and then you take a boat for an hour and a half, like 2.5 hours. You go into the Alpo-Wayomishana National Reserve. That's 130,000 acres and our center's right in the middle of that reserve. Now you're like definitely in the jungle. And that is really like the jungle. You look out, there's trees all around, but you're in a lodge, it's almost like a hotel. You've got your own room with your own bathroom, walk around. It's very comfortable, safe. You're not like worried that anything's going to, get you or something, but you're definitely in the jungle. You walk out the door of your room, you're overlooking the beautiful Nanai River, but then you take a hike. And you hike in on a trail, and then you're in like the jungle, like the third jungle to the 3rd degree, because that's when it's like as real as it gets. You are definitely in the jungle at that point. And it's kind of a once in a lifetime experience. Obviously for me, it's not, but for most people, it's a once in a lifetime experience, and it's incredible.
First time I've ever been to a jungle, so it'll be really cool for me. Yeah.
So I was going to say there's still the 4th degree where you walk off the trail. Don't do that. That's a level of jungle I don't recommend to anybody.
That's a big nope for me.
Yeah, you were talking about like your hay fever. You would not survive very long in that level. But even on that hike, you're with our staff. Our 2 assistants grew up in that community. There's a community, the Mishana community. There's 100 people that have lived there for over 100 years. And well, not that 100 people, but like
Yeah.
generations of people have lived there. And it's pretty cool also to see them. And they definitely put some pressure on you, you know, like, okay, this like 8-year-old's barefoot walking down the trail. I think I got to muster up a little courage here.
My 3-foot long socks that
Right.
are just pouring sweat. Yeah.
But that river is gorgeous to swim into. Most people really enjoy to swim in that river. And again, it's also helpful that kids from the community are swimming in it every day. So you're like, okay, they're not getting attacked by piranhas. I think I can brave this.
That.
Yeah.
Hey, you actually said the B word. I was like, I don't know. Do I want to say that? Because, you know, you get that whole, like, the TV teaches you that, oh, my God, you're going to jump in the water in the Amazon. You're going to come up like, you know, Daffy Duck with just a head, you know.
Oh, man. There was a documentary about some creature that would, like, swim up your pee hole of your penis.
Kangaroo. Yes.
Oh my God.
I know what this is.
It's amazing how famous that thing was. Like the person who made that documentary was like genius, because he made like the most unforgettable documentary. So many people have asked me about that. Like so many people. I've never heard of it. Nobody's ever heard of it. Like, I don't know, it must be the most rarest, like had to find it in the most remote little piece of river somewhere in the jungle or something. No one's ever heard of that. Like,
okay.
It's like the most ridiculous thing. But
and
yeah.
It was brought up in like an episode of the Venture Brothers. I love it. So just that episode was going through my head just then.
It's amazing how many times people have asked that question. It's like one of the most common questions. The piranha first, though.
Yeah.
Are there piranha? Yes, actually, there are definitely piranha. You can go fishing. You might choose to go fishing during the retreat and catch a piranha.
Huh.
There are definitely piranha. But piranhas don't just like randomly swim around biting people.
Yeah.
They're not like that.
Like a frenzy of, yeah, they're always showing like this massive frenzy of like this giant school. Just
well, we're similar age. I think you're a little bit young, but the movie Piranha, that was like a crazy movie. It was like a summer camp or something, and piranhas like ate all the counselors and the kids.
Why'd they keep getting in the water?
That's a great question.
Right. Yeah. See, my wife always tells me I would not be good in a horror movie because I just wouldn't do the thing.
Yeah, right.
Like you'd just be starting and be like, see you guys. I'd be the guy that left.
The most dangerous creatures, to be totally honest, are bullet ants and fire ants.
Yeah,
and fire ants, not so much, because fire ants are very territorial. So they're not like wandering. You know, you never like come across some random fire ant. But bullet ants do wander. They don't have like a territory. They don't live on a specific plant. So they will, like a bullet ant might wander around, and because it's an ant, it might like wander into your room, or it might wander like onto the dinner table, or, you know, it's an ant. It's like, it can get everywhere. And fuck, those, man, bullet ants, they pack a punch with their bite for sure. But it's still an ant. You know, I'm not saying like to be scared. Yeah. Like it's just, that's like literally the most dangerous thing that you'll encounter is an ant.
Yeah. I have a snake thing too. And I was like, anacondas are huge. I have watched a couple of videos since I found out about this. I was like, that's okay. They're huggers. You can run away from a hugger, right?
Totally. No, you totally can. Although they totally bite. That's like ridiculous to think that they aren't going to bite you, but they just don't kill you with their bite. That's not quite the same. Still, you don't want to
hold still for that.
I'm pretty sure I don't want to get bitten by a snake. Whether or not it's going to kill me isn't really my determination for whether or not I want to get bitten. But there's no anacondas, man.
Nice.
Like there's snakes. I mean, it's the jungle for sure, but not that you're gonna have a snake come up to you or something. There are snakes around, but very, very rare to see one.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, even if I saw one, I wouldn't wouldn't really freak out. I did grow up in Texas. I had to deal with them. So,
most people take out their phone and try to take a picture. That's like the common response. People don't. We live in such a safe world. It's almost like to our detriment.
Yeah.
You know, we're so like used to nothing harming us.
Yes. That the most intense thing that you experience in a day is a shitty email.
Right.
You're like, God, this stupid email ruined my day. Yeah, no, it's perspective, right? I often do. And I work from home. So like getting out and about just in general to me lately, especially since the whole, the thing where everybody's been locked away, it's been worse. It's, usually I like to go out on the weekends and stuff. Yeah, I was, on hiatus for a little while, but this is going to be awesome. I am super excited. I don't have any fear about it. I feel very, very at peace. Like this is meant for me, and
beautiful.
Yeah. This is where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Well, Bo, that is a great attitude to have. I'm going to be your point of contact until you arrive in Iquitos. There is a private Facebook group. Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I did actually get on that. Yeah.
And did you send me a friend request?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
I did. And we're already connected. And I've been actually going through reading all your articles and stuff. I probably read about 10 or 12.
Awesome. Cool.
And little interviews and stuff.
I'll add you to that group, and I have everyone's flight information. So I'll post that in that group, and everybody can start to see who each other is, so that when you meet in person, you'll be like, oh, hey, finally we get to meet. So over the next 2 weeks or so, we'll have a little bit of communication and chat. Hopefully some people will introduce themselves to each other on that group. But any questions or concerns, still send to me via email. Nick and Amber, who are the facilitators at the retreat center, they have another retreat starting this Sunday. So they'll be busy, during that time. But then once they get out of the jungle, they'll pop on that group as well to make sure that you have met them and understand that things will get handed over to them when you arrive. So you'll be picked up at the Iquitos airport and brought to that hotel. The reservation's all set. Everything's good to go. And then there'll be a meeting on that Saturday at 4 p.m. where you'll meet Nick and Amber for the first time and go over the itinerary before the group leaves at 10 a.m. the next day, the first day of the retreat.
Nice. So we're going to have a nice fresh day of sleep. That's good.
That's Saturday. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And that's a great hotel. Really nice, like comfortable hotel.
Yeah. I'm just excited about being out and about. I've only left the country to Canada and Mexico. So this will be cool. Very, very cool.
This is a little bit different.
Yeah. That's the exciting part. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be a really great experience for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all the time and effort, and God, just you work so hard to make us all cozy about this, man. You really do. Like all your emails, I can't appreciate that enough, because if I was dealing with my mom being hysterical, this would have been much more difficult. And, my wife is like encouraging me, yes, do this, do the thing, and yeah, everybody's asking me about it. Are you really going? I'm like, yeah, I'm really going. And then I'm getting them to watch the Down to Earth episodes. So you're getting, just from my little hometown, you're getting a little bit of pre-exposure. So yeah. And hopefully, that's one of the main things I hope to help with is to make people feel really cozy about this idea. And if it's something that resonates with them, that they'll be more willing to pursue it.
You said you hit the nail on the head with that. If it resonates, that's what it really comes down to. And I love to see more and more of this movement happening, where that vibration is like getting higher and higher to resonate with more and more people. So hopefully we'll see like a real turning away from the pharmaceutical industry towards nature and towards our own empowerment and consciousness. And, I'm seeing it, and I'm loving it all.
Nice.
All right, Bo. Thanks so much, man. Like I said, I'm your point of contact, so shoot me an email anytime. But I hope that you have a wonderful experience. I know it's going to be a transformative one.
Thank you again. Can't say thank you enough.
Yeah, no worries. Did you want to jump in, Brandon?
I was just going to close it out. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Again, guys, part 1, check all the ways to find the Ayahuasca Foundation as well as Bo Shaftnoski. If you need any production needs done, check out Bo's stuff. He's great. Go see the website. So all the stuff's linked in the show notes. Y'all know how that works. But guys, thank you so much. Bo, thank you again for your bravery. Carlos, thank you for your patience in the walkthrough and just your warmth, man. This is great. This is the guy. You know, you are the guy and you have the place. So I couldn't imagine anyone better. My wife and I are already looking at your shit. We're probably going to end up coming down there and seeing you too. So, guys, we'll see you for part 2. Bo, love you, brother. Thank you so much, Carlos. Thanks again, man.
Ditto.
Thank you. Great to do it.
Just such a cool thing that Bo's doing, number 1, and incredibly grateful for Carlos for participating in this as well. This is a huge deal for Bo, and this just was a massive deal for all of us to be able to come on this journey with him. So again, guys, this is going to be part 1. All the ways to find both of these gentlemen is located down in the show notes, so you guys make sure that you check that out and throw Bo some love and support, and just even like a little nice message. Hey, we're behind you, or hey, can't wait to see how it works. You know, anything, you just go with what you feel. If that aligns, go for it. But anyway, located down in the show notes how to find those guys. So really looking forward to part 2, and make sure you stick around after this message here. You may notice there's a little bit of time left in the play of this episode, and that is because I'm incorporating the last little bit after we, officially wrap the conversation. A lot was said, and it's wonderful. So I'm going to include that as well right after this message. Let's just talk about the resource links that you guys should check out if you feel called to do so as well. Food Forest Abundance located down there. Awesome, awesome family. I love those people. Jim Gale, keep doing what you're doing because you're changing the world, brother. Libsyn, if you guys would like to start your own podcast, I highly encourage anybody who has the bug, go ahead and scratch that itch and start your own podcast. It's just the coolest damn thing I've ever done. So why wouldn't I recommend it, right? Also, Amazon, if you're going to feed that beast, run it through our link. It helps the show. Opus, the Organization for Paranormal Understanding and Support. All of those guys are absolutely fantastic. Lester, again, you are changing the world, my friend, so keep doing it. And anything Expanding Reality, guys, you can find it at expandingrealitypodcast.com. That link is located in the show notes as well. And that's going to be where all the socials, all the lives are replayed there, the Too Hot for YouTube stuff, all the collaborations. If you'd like to become an expansive insider and help the show, that would be a wonderful way to do it. There's also just a way to donate. If you guys would like to do that as well, Random Acts of Kindness. It's down in the show notes. And I'm truly, truly grateful for all the love and support, guys. So go out into this beautiful place, ayahuasca or not, and y'all pick up a piece of litter. Go ahead and get out of the left-hand lane because that's a huge pain in the ass. Just smile at everybody that you come across. Just a simple, warm facial expression will change the day of someone, and y'all know this. Also, if you want to step it up a notch, go ahead and buy a meal or a coffee or something small like that for somebody in line around you or something like that when you're in an establishment. That goes a massive way. Above all and anything else, guys, go out into this beautiful place on all of your journeys, respectively, and y'all just be good to one another. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.
I hope it's okay that I talked about like all the going into the anacondas, and I'm glad you brought up the piranhas because I was like, is that really as bad as they make it out to be?
It's perfect.
I was like, well, I see people in the pictures that are actually in the water. I'm like, so they must not be worried.
It's like piranhas and quicksand. We were lied to. We were told that those things would be much more of an issue as an adult, going through life. Piranhas and quicksand, yeah. And I've yet to see fucking
quicksand's like nowhere.
Yeah, we eradicated it.
I was there, just a few weeks ago, and the water was very high. And when the water is very high, dolphins come up right up to where the center is. So I'm not sure, where the levels will be at by the time you get down there, but it's totally possible. If not right out in front of the center, like on the way there, that boat ride out is awesome, man. It's such a cool boat ride because you take a bus like to the end of civilization, really, and then you get on a boat and you leave like civilization behind and you enter into the National Reserve. So it's just like you're on a boat in the jungle. You're not passing by like anything except jungle. And so, whatever, just soak it all in. But you might see some dolphins on the way there.
Nice. They're the pink kind, right?
Some of them are pink, yeah. Those are the more famous ones, but they're much more rare.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just like the breed that was down there. Okay.
Yeah, there's two kinds of dolphins. Also, the pink ones, I think it's just the male that's like bright pink. The female's only pink on its belly, and you wouldn't normally see it. But whatever, a dolphin's a dolphin. If you're in the river in the middle of the jungle and you see a dolphin,
fuck yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah,
this is so awesome.
Oh, totally. I'm ready. I just getting through the next like 2 weeks of actual like day job is just going to be day job.
Yeah, but you could check out mentally because you could do that shit automatic. So you just start your meditation, start your, you have a lot more to kind of, and I love this too because you've already been doing a ton, and I knew you'd read every period. He's probably got a couple typos picked out for you, Carlos. He reads stuff. He reads stuff like that, and so I knew you would take it this way. And so it's wonderful though to get the stuff you've already been working on and then just level up on it. And now you have a fine-tuned way to kind of hone it a little bit better. And I mean, this was awesome. I didn't get this kind of prep. They just say, here, drink this. Like, don't talk to anybody. I was like, okay. And that was it. And so no dieta, no nothing. So you're having a legit experience. Well, and I didn't find that out until I was fucked up and already and wanting to talk to people. And he was like, no, save it for after ceremony. I was like, okay. So yeah, I
was actually kind of curious about that. If there's 20 people in the group?
No, there's 9.
9. Oh, it's a way smaller group than I thought it was going to be. Okay.
Actually, somebody canceled today, so it's 8 right now. It will probably still end up being 9.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I imagine you have probably a pretty long waiting list. I saw you were booked up pretty much all through the rest of the year.
Yep, we are actually. But when someone cancels, it's always right at the moment of truth.
Yeah.
So we'll see if someone. I do think someone will take their spot, but we'll find out. It'll either be 8 or 9. Yeah, that's usually. It's usually between 8 and 12 is our max, but it's rare that we get to 12. We have 8 rooms. And they're all double rooms, so they can be shared, but only if you're traveling with someone. And so it's rare that like 4 couples are traveling on a program.
That's a good point.
So it's like, I think we've had 12 once. Usually 9 or 10 is like really the number.
I'm curious, like, is it good to be with somebody Because like, I would think that like having the isolation and being with yourself might be the more effective path. I just imagine it that way.
I would think first.
That's my recommendation, but it is what it is. Some people, everyone's dynamic is different. Sometimes, like I think that on your program, it's 2 friends, so they're not like in an intimate relationship. I don't think. Yeah. And so they're just 2 friends. It's kind of like being on your own. But what I have noticed, and it's almost every time, is when you're with someone else, you talk to them like 90% of the time, and then you talk to everyone else 10% of the time. And so you're really kind of missing out.
Yeah, you're closing yourself off.
Yeah, right. Like, because a big part of it, and that's like part of that magic that I marvel at every time. Like this person who canceled, they weren't supposed to be on that retreat.
Yep.
And they canceled because they didn't realize that their passport was going to expire. And if it's going to expire within 6 months of when you travel, they won't let you travel, which is some crazy like international travel law. So like if your passport's going to expire in August, even though you're traveling in June, they won't let you travel.
Stupid.
I don't know who came up with that.
It's a passport now.
Well, it's money.
Dude, that's in big yellow letter. Like I highlighted that.
I'm pretty sure it's 2025, but
in my email.
Now I'm freaking out because, of course, if there's something
it's fine. Nope, because you're meant to do this.
You would have checked it. I put it like in
and
big like letters with the yellow highlighted in the email, like to make sure.
And you're meant to go.
But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah. But the point I was trying to make was that she wasn't supposed to be in this group.
Yeah.
Like the universe like is tinkering a little bit with like how it's supposed to be with the energies or however you want to look at it. But it happens all the time. And then what else happens is like there will be someone on that group who will help you in a way that, you'll marvel at, and they'll be a participant. But they will like understand where you're coming from, or they'll relate to you on a level that we just can't, like that our staff can't can't equal. And, and you'll see it, like you see it every time. It's super cool. Like how the group dynamics just kind of work. And the groups are so different, like I don't know. It's just like a magic process. It
Nice.
shows you that there's more going on than we
every
think,
time. Every time.
Yeah. I was my buddy and I that I was like talking to about the meditation. He was the one that I did shrooms with when I was in college, and I had always done stuff with him. And I was like, I'm going to do this. You want to come? And then we started looking into it, and he was like, oh, well, maybe next year. Right. And then I saw that a slot opened up in May, and I've just been going through so much shit. And I was like, dude, I got to go. I'm just doing this. Are you cool? And he's like, yeah, man, go for it. Go for it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Like, and that was when your life changed, was when you clicked that yes button, And because I saw it in you, our conversations changed, your light changed. I could see the dying off of your ego, the struggling to stay there. And that's part of this process. You will mourn the old self because you're not going to be the same thing. So kind of keep that in mind too. But it's all great. It's all great. That's what that resistance is. It's the old you that's been in survival mode this entire time trying to cling on to life. The way that I integrated it was I just had a conversation with that part of myself. You don't ever banish that, right? This is what shadow work is. And I just basically had a conversation that said, hey, look, dude, you did great. Like, you can take a break. You got us this far. I'm grateful for you. Just hop in the back seat, take a nap. I'm going to drive for a little while. And I promise you're going to love it. You can listen to whatever music you want. And it was kind of this kind of conversation. And so he's still there. Every now and then he'll wake up and bitch about where we're going, but I just let him say his thing and turn the music up a little bit and know that this is the right direction. So it's this integration of that side, but it's this conversation. So that's kind of, I saw you go through it. You've already kind of been, that ego has been hanging on, and you've been slightly second guessing, but you've had this bigger part of you that I'm so proud to see, brother, that has always come back and said, nope, but I've got to do it. I've got to do it. Even through all the fear, all the doubt, everything, because you went through that and you have to. You just have to. That's that ego dying. That's that thing going, hang on, I don't want to go anywhere. You're taking over. You're taking the wheel. That's what this is.
Yeah, I worry that, and I hate saying things like, but when I think about this, I go to myself and I'm like, now don't put so much pressure on yourself that you have to work out everything you've ever had in your whole life during this 10 days, right? I'm talking myself through this because, like, I know in a lot of ways, like my intentions, when you were talking about writing down your intentions, Carlos, like my intentions are to help me make some really hard decisions right now. And God, I've been feeling so physically like ill with like worry and stress with what's going on in my life. I just, if there wasn't some relief in store, and I'm putting so much hype and hope and faith, into this action, because I want to change. I want to let go. I want to transform into more of what the best of me is, and with clarity and intention of purpose. This, I feel like I'm very wish-washy in my head. I'm a people pleaser, and so if I surround myself with people that I'm constantly trying to please instead of working out my own shit and figure out how I'm going to be the best version of myself in relation to other people more often than I work on it in relation to just for me, and I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, but I've been modulating myself for, like, my dad when I was a kid, and my wife when I'm an adult, and now I have my little girl, and I just want to be like this. I want to be an inspiring figure that can provide, and I already am like an inspiring figure that provides a lot of comfort and joy to her, but I want to not be an example of what not to do. I don't want to be like, I feel like my father was in a lot of ways. I felt like he was a lot of examples of how I didn't want to be. And that's a shitty way to feel about your dad that tried so hard for you in the best way he knew how. But I think about that, when I pass, I don't want my daughter to look at me the way I look at him. And it's like, I feel like that, I don't know. that's a lot of judgment. That's a lot of the shit I got to let go too, is the judgment. You don't want to judge people that you love, that's not my place, Yeah. Anyway, I'm oversharing.
Not at all.
I do that.
Not
lately.
At all.
Dude, all of it. Part of that process, sorting that shit out. That's what I like. I don't want to like beat it down, but like that's the kind of stuff that I think collecting, that's the purpose of the journaling, like collecting those thoughts so that you have this collection of it. And then even if like everything that you just said, if that was a little story, it is your story, it's a part of your story. If you wrote that down today and then you read it 2 weeks from now, you would already want to rewrite it, and you haven't even done the retreat, and that's really like what the retreat is like this brilliant opportunity to rewrite our stories so that we're not the person who teaches by example of what not to do.
Yes.
That we rewrite our story so that we are the person that inspires people through our own behavior and our own way of being, and that's how we write it. And when we truly believe that we're writing our story, it is our story. It is who we are. It is the true definition of what we are. And, that's happening right now. And that's what this preparation process looks like. But then collecting all of that so that the story that you're trying to rewrite becomes this huge advantage. And you can keep it in your head. It's just easier to have it where you can literally like work with it. And I'll give you a heads up too, like what the integration, because you read my article, like the integration process is like taking that story and literally like reworking it, like typing it, transcribing it from your journal into a document and literally like writing the way that you want it to be, expanding on it, taking the insights from the lessons you learned on your experiences and expanding out on them. And for you, it'll be like in your zone, which I'm taking to be like video editing, like to tell your story that way.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Like to have a platform, an artistic expressive platform to do that. I'm always like encouraging people to do that. And, nowadays, like we tell stories, but we're all like visual now in the way that we tell our stories. And I love that. Like that's.
Yeah. I'm going to do a lot of TikToks on this next 2 weeks. I just got all my equipment sorted out. I got everything planned. So I'm going to literally talk about, 8 a.m. This is or 6 a.m. is what I'm going to start waking up at. Go at 6 a.m. I'm going to spend quiet time. I'm going to have my coffee. And I'm putting cream. I put the artificial sweet stuff in. I'm gonna just do milk. And switching up my diet. I'm gonna talk about going to plant-based, and I'm gonna do fish and chicken still. And I've been exercising more. I've actually down to 297 pounds from 197 pounds from 210. So I've already lost like 13 pounds in the last 2.5 months from just changing my habits. I gave up alcohol, like I told you, 6 months ago, it'll be soon. And so it's intense sobriety, intense, like not avoiding what's in myself, in an intense change, and just giving up the things about myself that I think disassociate from being present, I guess. And just, it's the avoidance, the self-avoidance stuff that, people just have learned to do in our culture. You're like, oh, I'm going to dive into, and I've just got off work, so of course I'm going to turn on the TV, and so I don't have to think. And, all the things that everybody does, it's all natural, and it's fine. I'm not criticizing. I do it. I've literally done it for 41 years. I cannot criticize,
Yeah, I'd argue with the natural part,
good.
but it is a habit that this system has encouraged. So yeah, I don't think there's anything natural about it. But
Good point. I didn't know.
Just a rephrasing.
It's natural nowadays that people do that with the structure of things.
I know what you meant. And same thing.
It's the framework. The whole Netflix and chill thing. It's like it's so common that everybody knows what the hell we're talking about. Because of course,
that's how you know it's horseshit. It's because it's so common.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tide is definitely shifting. Just like when you said, I gave up alcohol. You didn't give up anything. You left something behind that encouraged you to give up on yourself.
Yeah.
And so,
Fuck yes.
This is just what ayahuasca does, by the way. Your mind will just think that way.
For me.
It's awesome. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Well, I love the shit out of both of you guys. Thank you so much. Carlos, I was going to ask, I'm starting to set up.
Let me tell this story real quick. It's just 1 minute, but I cut my hair and I said there's a story behind it.
I want to know it. Yeah, I was going to ask you about it.
So Nick Lewis is the manager at Riospo at the center you're going to. He's going to become your point of contact as soon as you arrive in Iquitos, and he's going to be there every day, guiding your process. He's going to be working with Amber. But I've known Nick since he came to do a retreat in 2011. We've been friends for whatever that is, 11 years. And he's been working with me for the last 4 years. We live in the same house together. I mean, he's like my best friend. And he's moving on. Your program will be his last program.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to come up to New York and work at a center started by former facilitators and students of ours who started their own church in upstate New York and run ayahuasca retreats in New York. And they just do little weekend retreats, but they're awesome. He's a fantastic musician, which you'll see. And so he's going to join their team there. And I'm super happy for him. But he didn't give me a lot of notice, and I've got to replace him quickly. And he's not an easy person to replace, which you'll easily see. That position is not an easy position to fill. Yeah, and so I figured out how to sort it out. And by March next year, I will have a permanent replacement, but that will go through bringing back some facilitators and juggling some time. And eventually it will get to a new permanent facilitation team. But January, I'm leading the January 4-week course. And I haven't led a program since my wife got pregnant in 2013. So 2013 was the last time that I led a program, and I'm leading one now. And
nice.
And I know that this is exactly what I'm supposed to do, and I didn't decide to do it. It was decided for me, but then I recognized that I am deciding to do it. I did decide to do it, obviously, but I saw the signs, I guess. And so me cutting my hair was an acknowledgement that I'm about to level up my own life and my own career. And, I've been talking for years about the work that we do, but now I'm going to walk that walk again. And I'm going to up my game, and come August and September. And after I lead this program, man, wait till you hear what I'm going to have to say then, So
yeah. That's the ones we want to sign up for. Congratulations, dude, by the way. That's fucking amazing. What a beautiful story.
Thanks, man.
God, condolences on your shift. That's rough. That's the only constant, right? That's the only thing that's permanent is change.
Yeah, for sure. No, I already know that our programs are going to be way better. I love Nick, but that's what happens when change occurs,
Introspection.
It's an opportunity to develop.
Yep.
Yeah. We've been around for 12 years and we've lost teams, or teams have moved on, and it always gets better, because we continue to up our game. Yes. Our organization continues to rise as a result of those people. But then when a new person comes in, they come in at that level. Mm-hmm. And so that's the base for them. Mm-hmm. And then they're okay, well, I can make it better, and they figure out how to make it better. Meanwhile, the person that brought it to that level was dude, this is as good as it gets, Yeah. So it takes a transformation to keep leveling up. And that level up includes, for me, this is a necessary transformation for me to recognize just how high we've gotten ourselves so that I can see like what's next, so I can have that vision again, but also so that I can improve my language and like talk about this and describe it better.
Yeah. So you haven't done it in a while. How often do you go to Peru then? I'm curious.
No, I haven't led a program. So
okay.
I was there in April. And so in April, I met a group of students that I brought to our 8-week course and started that 8-week course. Then I left that course in the hands of the facilitators. And then I came back to Iquitos. I met another group for our 4-week course out at the center you're going to. And I went out with them to that center. And then I left them there with Nick and Amber. And then I came back, took care of like some admin shit and stuff like that. And then I came home. Yeah. And so
but it's not like you get to be the actual like facilitating healer.
That's right.
An active developer of other people. And
that's right. Last year I did a 10-day retreat, your retreat. Cause that's it was the first 10-day retreat last July. It used to be an 8-day retreat, but I decided that I didn't want to bend to what the participants wanted because they all wanted a 1-week program, but I just didn't think it was enough. And neither did our staff. Like we knew that 1 week it was just a little bit short. It was like trying to squeeze in that little extra. It would be like a surgeon and the guy's like, actually, can you do the surgery in 2 hours and 30 minutes? And you're like, dude, it's a 3-hour surgery. Like, yeah, I know, but can you just like, and so I did the first 10-day retreat, but I was still a participant. I wasn't leading it, even though obviously like I took leadership roles at times, which was great. Looking back, like that was my little warm up. But this will be like, I'm in charge. Like I'm not just advising my staff, but that will be really great too. Cause a lot of our staff have turned around also. So just to like build those bonds with every member of my staff. And we've got a new kitchen crew that I hardly know. So, just to like build those bonds and make everybody like get along and, have us all be buddies.
Yeah. Cultivate the atmosphere.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it makes sense what you said about the stair step, because like attracts like. So as you level up, you attract new people to level you up. I mean, it's cosmic law of the universe. I mean, but you're heeding it and you're following it and you're aware of the rhythm of it, which is beautiful. It makes sense. Where other corporations or organizations would be upset at their high turnover rate, you realize that it's actually that you're leveling up. And so therefore you're attracting new people to continue the level up and to enhance the experience for the participants. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, 4 years in this line of work, like, we've been around 12 years. We've basically had like 3 teams that stay like 5 years, 4 years, something like that, so.
That's pretty good long time.
It's a damn good turnover rate, by the way. Yeah.
At that point, like when you're working as a facilitator and training like that hard, those people now they're maestros, they're like straight up shaman. They're incredible people, and they will be the other 2 teams. They're going to work with me in the Costa Rica project next year. So when we open a new center in Costa Rica, they'll be the curanderos, they'll be the shaman. And then we're going to do something crazy. Like we're going to do something that's never been done before.
That's badass. Nice. I've still got to hook you up with Mama Shell. She also is involved in getting a 50-acre ranch. I think she's already moved into it in Costa Rica.
Yeah, she has. And I've been following her on Instagram.
Unbelievable.
A lot of good pictures and stuff that they have. It looks really comfortable and like really interesting and like a lot of awesome fruit. They're always eating all these natural plates of food that look amazing. And it looks really neat. Looks like she's doing some really good stuff out there.
Yeah. I mean, have you guys already broken ground or have a site for your Costa Rica project?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say,
there's a property. Acres. It's a school. Like we're going to buy a school. I'm not buying it. Thank God I'm not buying it. I'm just like I'm not going to own it. I'm just going to be the director. Nice. So
lower pressure.
So much lower. Yeah. But yeah, it'll still be mine to run. I just won't own it. And I'm happy about that, to be totally honest, because there's so many night headaches and like all that shit. But But yeah, it's a school. It's on 30 acres of land in Heredia outside of San Juan. But we're totally doing something real different than Mama Chel. I am in contact with her, by the way.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, if there was any sort of,
I mean, I'm all for what she's doing, but we're building a school for therapists to get trained in ancestral psychedelic therapy, which is we invented it. So it's obviously based on the ancestral traditions of the Amazon, but we're infusing it with modern techniques like holotropic breath work and somatics and epigenetic reprogramming, things that are like cutting edge new techniques, but mixing them in combination with the ancestral techniques. And we have that background of deep ancestral practice, like study, training, and that like kind of puts us in a unique category because not many people are capable of having that level of training, but also have the awareness of Western culture and the paradigm. Yeah. But sorry, my wife is reminding me that I got to pick up my daughter from gymnastics. But dude, awesome. I really loved doing this and I can't wait to do it again.
At Sleep Outfitters Outlet, great sleep is a big deal. Save 40 to 60% every day on every Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. Queens as low as $249. Customer exchanges, closeouts, and floor samples. Inventory changes daily, so come in for your dream deal today. With no credit-needed financing, expert advice, and up to 60% off retail, it's never been easier to get the sleep and savings you deserve. Go to sleepoutfittersoutlet.com for financing details and to find a store near you.